I didn't need anybody's money. And so we always, for 28 years, we give 100% money back guarantee to people. We say, hey, we're here to help, man. If it works, is it worth it? If it doesn't, we'll just refund your money. And take a guess what our success rate is. And realize we're medically approved. We're like HIPAA. We're HIPAA compliant. We have to document everything to the nth degree. Guess what our
98%.
success rate is? What is it?
98%.
Brother, you're a rock star. 99.1, 99.1% for 28 years of reversing illness and disease, causing them to gain their hydration, gain their muscle, lose their fat. Yeah, this should be the number one prescription on every doctor. It's like, hey, you got nothing to lose. And we could think what we could save our government. We can make our country truly healthy again and save our government hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of all this wasted healthcare money that they're spending it on.
What's up, everybody? This episode is sponsored by ExitWise. If you're a business owner thinking about selling your company, whether that's now or years down the road, you need to know what your business is actually worth and how to maximize that exit. That's exactly what ExitWise does. They help you prepare, position, and ultimately sell your business by assembling a world-class team of M&A experts around you, guiding you from valuation all the way through closing. If you want to know what your business is really worth and how to increase that number before you sell, go check out exitwise.com and get ahead of it. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Big Hitters Podcast. I'm joined by my friend John Jubilee. He is a buddy of mine from Rise Up Kings, and he is the founder of Energized Health. John is a serial guy, has some cool stories, and is super passionate about what he's doing, and makes occasional TV appearances. So an all-around stud. I'm excited to, and has a genuine, passionate heart for the Lord. So I'm really excited to dive into it here with him today. John, tell us a little bit about the business and how you kind of wind up in the space.
Well, first of all, yeah, great being here, Andrew, and hey out there to all the guys and all the world changers, that we're all out there, doing it together. And yeah, we've all got a story, right? And so, yeah, I've got kind of a little bit of a dramatic story, probably like a lot of us do, that, God loves to show off, and how does God show off? He does the impossible, so he chooses the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And so that's kind of my story. I was born to a single teenage mom who already had a son. So I was the second son born to her as a teenager. And so my mom was working 80 hours a week. We were living in a horrible, dangerous neighborhood. It's called the Bottoms of Columbus, Ohio. They called it the Bottoms because the projects is up here and the Bottoms is down here. It's one step below the projects. Like the rich kids lived in the projects for how I grew up. And so I grew up hard, but I wanted to help my mom. Had that entrepreneurial spirit even since I was a little boy. And so at 9 years old, I got a paper route and delivering papers at 5 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. And so I was a hardworking kid and giving money to my mom. And so anyway, fast forward. But part of that, I do want to share this, is my sister was born severely crippled. And so she's born 3 months premature. She didn't have the muscles in her legs. And I don't mean they were atrophied. I mean, they weren't there. So she was missing a lot of muscles in her legs, and she had to wear those Forrest Gump braces. And so that really put a heart of compassion in me, even since I was a little boy. I wanted to be able to help people to be healthy, starting with, my little sister. And so, fast forward, I always was working, helping my mom. By the time I was 15 years old, I was working in a foundry. It's where you grind iron. I was an iron grinder. A lot of men hear that scripture, right? Iron sharpens iron. I know what that means because I was working on a grinder. Sparks fly everywhere, boys. When the iron's sharpening the iron, man, there's, my gloves that catch on fire. I cut off the end of my thumb one day. I cut off, the inside of my hand one day. it's a brutal process. But anyway, so in high school, I'd work 10 at night till 6 in the morning. I was making $24 an hour. So I was banking all this money so I could go to college. But then thankfully, and again, this is part of my God story is my senior year of high school. I didn't even know what the SAT was, but some of my buddies said, John, we'll see you at the SAT on Saturday. And I said, yeah, I'll see you there. I didn't even know what it was. And man, was I ticked when I found out it was a test. I was like, what? Because I like to sleep on Saturday, man, because I didn't get much sleep, obviously working 10 to 6 and then going to high school during the day. So anyway, I got a good score on this test. It got me a full ride scholarship, to college. I got to keep all my money. And again, this is all part of my God story. And so a girl I dated in high school, her dad was the president of a big bank. And so he actually got me into banking, because he didn't want me to marry his daughter. He didn't want me for his son-in-law, but he wanted me to be on his team. So, and he told me, you scared me, man. I can't believe you work with those full-grown men in that foundry. So anyway, I ended up in banking and had an amazing run there. I was I was the number one banker in my state my first year, and ended up being a top 10 banker, for about 20 years. But then again, God chooses foolish to confound the wise. I never thought I'd be out of banking. I really was set for life in banking and had an amazing business going there. But then, from playing sports when I was younger, a lot of football, basketball, a lot of street ball. I had, because I played on an all-black team in an all-black league for 6 years. And so we played a lot of street ball in the summer and then football and then basketball in the winter. I had no cartilage left in my knees. So, if anybody's out there that's ever had a bad knee injury or no cartilage, you know what that feels like. And so because I was bone on bone in my knees, looking at 2 new knee surgeries, I leaned into God. I said, God, please help me. Like, please tell me there's a way. So I went and did all this research. And Andrew, I'm not a smart guy, but I'm a gifted guy. I just was born with a photographic memory. I could read an encyclopedia and quote it, when I was in 2nd grade. I did test out of about 12 years of college math in 45 minutes. But guys that do that, they're not smart guys. They're just gifted guys. You're just born with a gift when you can do that. But I used those gifts God gave me to go do this research on health and regenerating the human body. And interestingly, in the Bible, it says your youth and strength will be renewed like an eagle. And so there is scripture, you'll be like a tree planted by a river of living water. So all these biblical principles tie into health and wellness. And so I created a protocol for myself just to regenerate my cartilage in my knees, which they said was impossible. But bottom line, I did it. I did it by God's grace and God's help. He gave me some new supernatural insight and wisdom. I created a cellular health protocol. It totally transformed my life and my health. That was 1997, by the way. And I have not had one medical doctor visit since 1997 because it's hard to make a healthy cell sick. And so I've been super healthy, gotten stronger every year. And so really this was, what I believe was a God science. And this really was my true calling. And that's how I ended up, turning this into a company of Energized Health.
This episode is brought to you by Pierre Tax and Accounting, led by CPA Eric Pierre, a seasoned accounting and tax expert with years of experience helping individuals and businesses navigate complex financial landscapes. Whether you need personal tax planning, business tax strategy, bookkeeping, or financial planning support, Eric and his team are committed to helping you protect and grow your financial future with clarity and confidence. To get expert guidance you can trust, check out Pierre Tax and Accounting at pierreaccounting.com. This episode is brought to you by my friend Silas Lagoy over at ForgeMark Wealth. If you're a high-income business owner or professional and feel like you're getting crushed by taxes, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. ForgeMark Wealth specializes in advanced legal tax strategies and wealth planning designed to help you keep more of what you make, grow it efficiently, and actually build long-term freedom, not just income. If you're making serious money but don't have a real strategy behind it yet, I highly recommend connecting with Silas and his team. It's so interesting, man, because, there's this resurgence in, well, not resurgence. I would say there's a huge push for longevity. And so, you were telling me on the phone before the podcast that people comment on you look younger than you are all the time. You're outlifting people at the gym. So just talk to us about how it all works. Like, I think everybody wants to, to some extent have some sort of a fountain of youth solution. Like, how does Energized actually work, and what is the protocol?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll share with, especially those that are of the Christian faith, in Deuteronomy, it says, as your years are, so shall your strength be. In other words, that means we're supposed to get stronger. According to God's word, we should be getting stronger as we get older. Now, the world teaches exactly the opposite. You're going to lose your strength. The best years of your life were in your 20s, blah, 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 blah. That's not biblically correct. And there is a free will choice associated with reverse aging. And again, it's in the Bible. When it says your youth and strength will be renewed like an eagle will die after 40 to 50 years unless it chooses of its own free will to go through a renewal process. And it has to fly up into a super high mountain where there's no predators. It rips its talons out. It rips all of its feathers out. It beats its beak off. It's a brutal process. But if it will go through that process, that eagle will live another 40 to 50 years like it's a brand new baby eagle, like it's a teenager again. And so it's a free will choice. And I really do believe, when God's word says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, people just lack the knowledge, or they lack the action step. Even when they learn the knowledge, they won't take the action step to go through the renewal process. Why? The same reason eagles don't, because it's painful. So it takes some choices. It takes some discipline to go through the renewal process. And so, and it's the same thing. So just like at Energized Health, just like what I had to go through, and it didn't happen overnight. 88 days is a cellular transformation cycle. It's one cycle of cellular transformation of the human body. So people do have an amazing result in 88 days. But I didn't do one, I did almost four. I did almost 4 cycles of 88 days. And that's when I fully regrew all my cartilage. I did gain about 30 pounds of muscle, by the way. Like, again, I'm 65 years old. I didn't look this good when I was 25 years old. I didn't have the lean muscle. And I want to quickly say, no TRT, no HGH, no peptides. This is all natural. And I'm not against any of that stuff. Guys want to do it. I say, hey, listen to your body. I'm just saying for my body, I was able to do everything completely natural, completely with, without any of that, and have optimal health at the cellular level. And guys, come on, this is shocking. I'm just telling you, like, this inspires me. I was not trying to get strong, Andrew. I'm not really a weightlifting guy. I'm a health guy. But, I have about a 20-minute workout I do in the gym. I do 2 resistance exercises. I do 4 days a week. I do 2 simple resistance exercises. But I do this principle. I would always just like every week, I'd try to add, a pound, another pound, another pound. And guys say, dude, you're not going to get strong just increasing a pound. Well, let me tell you something. You do it for 28 years, you will. That's a long time. It's a lot of pounds. It's a lot of pounds. But I truly was shocked myself when, these guys just walked up to me one day, this, a year and a half ago, whatever. And they were like, dude, that's like a world record. What you're doing there. And I came home, of course, to my wife, hey, babe, I'm like a world record. And she said, well, how much were you lifting? I said, 525. And so she starts Googling and she goes, baby, the world record is 541. She said for your, under 200 pounds, 541.
So you're currently a world record holder.
I am a current world record holder. I did 555 pounds 14 times, 14 reps. So I didn't realize it's all about the 1 rep max, because I'm a health guy, right? I'm not even going to do a 1 rep max because I want to stay healthy. I don't want to hurt my joints or.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, it is funny when you look at someone pushing 555 14 times, you would think that will hurt your joints,
Yeah.
but it really doesn't. It doesn't if you've already been lifting, in a healthy way for years and years. Just like your muscles are strong, so are your joints strong. So
Yeah.
I worked out normal the very next day, after I did that.
This episode is brought to you by 10X Nerds. If you're a business owner doing real revenue, there's a good chance you're overpaying in areas you haven't even looked at. Things like credit card processing, insurance, telecom, and more. 10X Nerds comes in, audits your expenses across 30 plus categories, and finds immediate savings. And here's the kicker. They only get paid if they save you money. It's a complete no-brainer. If you want to keep more of what you make, go check them out at 10xnerds.com. This episode is brought to you by Rakowski Law Firm. If you're a business owner or have built a level of wealth, but you don't have your estate plan dialed in, you're exposed. Rakowski Law Firm helps families and business owners protect their assets, avoid probate, and make sure everything transfers exactly how it should. This isn't just paperwork, it's a real strategy to protect your legacy. If you haven't looked at your plan in a while or don't have one, go to rakowskilawfirm.com. So, John, before I came on the show with you, I was trying to explain this to my wife, and I don't think I was doing it justice, but it basically has to do with the hydration between your cells, or like what, you don't have to like get super into the weeds on the science behind it, but like what is it at a high level?
I can make it super simple. Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it to a child, you don't understand it yourself. So look, right now, all of our cells are, just picture my fist as a glass marble. This is a glass marble. So our cells are like a glass marble. So even when we drink water, it's just bouncing off. It's just bouncing off the glass marble. But this protocol opens up the cell like a porous sponge. So now the hydration can get inside the cell. And not only does the hydration get in, but it pushes out all the toxins and all the inflammation. The toxins and the inflammation are the root cause of any pain you have in your body or any disease you have in your body. 99% is just inflammation and or toxin. So this is like a river of living water flowing through your cells. So all of your cells are optimized. And by the way, that's the only reason, I look so young is because I'm a grape, not a raisin. What's the difference between a grape and a raisin?
Well, yeah, one has had the hydration sucked out of it.
That's it. It's just hydration. That's all it is. Yeah. So think about old people. They look like they just shrivel up, right? They shrivel up.
I was wondering if you were going to answer the question for me, but I realized you were putting me on the spot.
And you got it. And you got it right. But think about every old person you ever see. They just look like a shriveled up raisin, right? They hunch over. Their skin gets all wrinkly. Why? They just lost their intercellular hydration. And guess what muscle's made out of? Water. 75%. Yeah. 75%. It is 3 times more important how hydrated you are in your cells than it is the protein you eat or the weight training program you have. It doesn't matter how much weight you lift, how much protein you eat. If you don't have hydration, you can't build 1 ounce of muscle anyway, because the number 1 ingredient is hydration.
I like it. Okay, so all right, so now you got me curious. So how does someone start? They reach out to you, they reach out to your assistant. Like, what does the actual protocol look like?
Yeah, well, here's what it looks like. And first of all, again, because I'm assuming you have a lot of men watching, but look, this is for men and women, obviously. But it's take an action step, for yourself. Take an action step for yourself. And is this going to air before January 5th?
No, we're about a month out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I would recommend people just go on the website to Energized Health. Just go right on there and just book a call. So just book a call and talk to one of our health coaches. Now, our health coaches, every one of them was a client first, Andrew. So think about this. Like, we have no one in our company who was not a client first. And some of them are 20 and 30-year nurses and, dietitians and medical professionals. once they experience this, they quit. They quit what they were doing before. They're like, oh, no, I want the whole world to experience this, and I want to be part of this movement because this transformed. You know, we got nurses, they had diabetes for 30 years, and boom, they reverse in 88 days. People with kidney failure, liver failure, people that could never lose that last 20 pounds, or they could never lose 100 pounds. And this is not a weight loss program, by the way. This is a cellular health program. It just so happens one of the side effects of cellular health is you lose all your visceral and subcutaneous fat and you gain your healthy lean muscle. You know, you truly get healthy, and the side effect is you'll lose your fat, you'll gain your muscle, your strength will go up 50% in 88 days. 50%. And I'll just share, I don't care how advanced you are, and I'm under NDAs, but I can tell you that I have, you know, right here in my little cell phone, yes, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. No, the best players in the world, they want to use this science because guess what? If you have hydration, you'll never get a cramp and you'll be 50% stronger than the guy you're competing against. Yeah. And you won't run out of energy. So whether you're the highest level athlete, you know, you want this, or if you've been dealing with something, you know, that you just haven't been able to overcome, this will go to the root cause and help you reverse it.
So now I have all these questions in the back of my mind as you're talking, like, why isn't this more, you know, well known? And I'm assuming you're going to tell me because a lot of the regulators and things don't let the message get out, or what's the reason why more people don't know about something like this?
I can tell you, and I can tell you in one sentence, it's just exposure. Yeah. It's just exposure. So I never really was, you know, I'm not a social media guy to this day, you know, so I never tried to build my followers or, you know, I'm probably the only guy in the world. I have tens of thousands of clients. I don't have 10,000 followers because I never tried to build followers, but I have tens of thousands of clients who I changed their life. Yeah. And so our thing is strictly exposure. You know, once people hear about it, then they do. They're all just like you. They're all like, oh my gosh, why doesn't everybody in the world do this? But once they hear about it, you know, then they do. You know, our message is, because it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Like, oh my gosh, intercellular hydration, that makes sense. Who doesn't need that?
Yeah. John, switching gears to the business for a sec here. What do you feel like in terms of the business? Like, what's going really well, and what do you feel like is an area of like a sticking point or that you're trying to overcome?
Yeah, well, this has been the great thing is really this has just been a God-built business. So, you know, I say this almost as a confession to people. I would not say don't build your business how we built it, because it doesn't match anything you've ever heard. We have no marketing. We have no sales. Yes, you heard me. We have no sales and we have no marketing. But we've been on the Inc. 500 fastest growing companies in America the last 2 years back to back. So how is that even possible? You know, I mean, I just believe it's a God miracle. So yeah, our company is growing exponentially, but it really is mostly just because of word of mouth. And then, you know, now I get invited on, you know, 4 or 5 television shows every single week. So like I've been on the Charlie Kirk show for 18 months, every Monday. You know, I met Charlie and he loved our science. You know, he had me come and speak at his TP USA in front of 28,000 people. And, you know, in 12-foot letters behind me, this is 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, I had Make America Healthy Again. This is before RFK ever said Make America Healthy Again. That was my wife's idea, by the way. Chelsea Jubilee came up with Make America Healthy Again. And then when I came off stage, I said, honey, let's buy the website. And we screen recorded it. If 2 years ago you would have went to Make America Healthy Again, it was owned by the CDC and went to a COVID-19 vaccine shot. The bad guys owned it. So it took us 4 months, but we bought it just as a noble cause. Like, no, let's do the right thing. Let's take this away from the bad guys. And we took we own MakeAmericaHealthyAgain.com. We own it today. And we just redirected it to our own Energized Health website. But once RFK made it famous, then we turned it into a website because we realized, oh, wow, maybe there's some commercial value, to this Make America Healthy Again. So we're actually in the process now. We just had a meeting with one of the head guys at the HHS, one of RFK's right-hand guys. We just had a Zoom call with him from Washington, D.C., which my wife was in Washington, D.C., and she met him in person. And he said, let's get on a Zoom with your husband. And so we all got on a Zoom call together. And so now we're looking to partner with Health and Human Services. So I really do believe the day is coming when this will be the norm. Like this will be known. It'll be known as, this is how to reverse diabetes, arthritis, high blood pressure, any issue someone has. Because Andrew, I'll just share the real story with you. The first 11 years after I did this, I helped people for free. Realize I was set, man. Like I had an amazing, banking operation. And so, but all these people would just come to me, just word of mouth. And they would all ask me the same question, can you help me with blank? And no matter what it was, I had one answer, Andrew, for 11 years. Guess what it was?
Sure.
No, because Andrew, I would not give somebody false hope. And I would not misspeak. I said, I don't know, let's see. I don't know, let's see. That's all I said. 11 years, I had one answer for every person. Now, after 11 years, I changed my answer to yes, I can 100% help you. And why did I change? Because every single person reversed, Andrew. No matter what they had, no matter if their doctor said, this is incurable, this is irreversible, they all reversed anyway. And you can look on the front of my website. Now I got doctors on there who had irreversible kidney failure or, whatever, liver failure, spinal stenosis, irritable bowel syndrome, diverticulitis, you name it, it reversed. And now we have tens of thousands. We have 6 terabytes. I don't know what a terabyte is, but I do know I have 6 terabytes.
So John, when will it become a solution that is actually being prescribed by doctors, physicians, and people that actually hold the medical licenses?
Well, that's what we're believing for. No, we are believing for. And we have the case study, by the way. So we have the case study to show that, no, this should be what is prescribed. This should be the number one thing that's prescribed. This would save the government hundreds of billions of dollars of healthcare cost if they would just prescribe this first. Because and by the way, this is a medically approved program. So this is HSA, FSA, and Care Credit. Care Credit, you got to be you have to have medical efficacy that you reverse illness and disease. And the side effect is we can guarantee we reverse the illness or disease, and we cause visceral subcutaneous fat loss, and we cause muscle gain and intracellular hydration increase. Like those are the things we can medically document, for every single person.
That's incredible. Okay, so what? And then the one last question I had, just as I was listening, like, is it an injection? Is it something you take? Like, is it a liquid? Like, how do you actually take?
No, I'm so glad you asked that. No, it is not. It is not a pill or a potion or a powder. No, it's none of that stuff. And again, look, we're like the Roy Rogers of healthcare. We like everybody, and if they're helping people, we say God bless you. But I have turned down more money for supplements, supplement partnerships. I mean, I'm not even going to say the number, but it's tens of millions that I've turned down. Everyone wants to partner with us because what we do works all by itself. It doesn't need any pill or powder or supplement, injection, IVs, all of that stuff. And Andrew, I'll just answer those with a quick story. Listen, I probably have 100 clients that spent tens of thousands, some of them $50,000 on stem cells. And they did everything money could buy. None of that worked for them. It didn't work. They did this, it worked. It worked. But guess what? All the other things that failed, it was like burning their money in the fireplace. Yeah. Nobody gave them a refund. Andrew, yeah. I didn't need anybody's money. And so we always, for 28 years, we give 100% money back guarantee to people. We say, hey, we're here to help, man. If it works, is it worth it? If it doesn't, we'll just refund your money. And take a guess what our success rate is. And realize we're medically approved. We're like HIPAA. We're HIPAA compliant. We have to document everything to the nth degree. Guess what our
98%.
Success rate is? What is it?
98%.
Brother, you're a rock star. 99.1. 99.1% for 28 years of reversing illness and disease, causing them to gain their hydration, gain their muscle, lose their fat. Yeah, this should be the number one prescription on every doctor. It's like, hey, you got nothing to lose. And we could think what we could save our government. We can make our country truly healthy again and save our government hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of all this wasted healthcare money that they're spending it on.
So, okay, but you didn't answer my question. How does one do the protocol?
Oh, so look, here's what the protocol. So there's one cellular health exercise, just one. You could do it while you're watching your podcast. You could do it while you're talking on the phone. So there's a cellular health exercise you do every day for 1 hour. Of course, you're going to drink your water, but everybody's already drinking water, but it's not getting inside the cell right now. The eating program, and I'd never put someone on a diet. Diet starts with D-I-E, and so I'm like, no, don't want to put anyone on a diet. God gave you taste buds because food tastes good. So we teach eat all food in moderation except two things during your transformation. No sugar, no white flour. When white flour touches human saliva, it turns into pure table sugar anyway. And sugar turns off your fat burning switch. And when you're not healthy at the cellular level, and I want to quantify this, listen, all of our great grandparents ate cake and cookies, and they ate sugar. But guess what? They didn't have all of the oxidation and all of the processed food. They didn't have all that stuff. So they had way healthier hydration levels back then than what we have today. So now we have all these things that we're dealing with. We've got all the toxins and the pollution and the oxidative stress, and we've got all this stuff going on that makes our cell like that glass marble that we have to reverse. But no sugar, no white flour, but you can eat everything else in moderation. Like everybody could do that. That means you could still have tacos. You just eat a corn tortilla, right, with your tacos. You can still have your whole wheat pasta and meatballs, and you could eat everything. Eat a whole wheat, pizza crust. You can still eat pizza. You could eat everything on our protocol in moderation. But we're going to give you the cellular health exercise. We're going to give you the protocol of, hey, here's how you eat the right way, that helps your cells to, again, go through from here to here. And then make sure that you're watching a daily video. So my wife and I, we do a daily video about 10 minutes a day. And my wife is so fun, she can make science entertaining. But you've got to learn this new information. Everyone needs to learn the why. Well, why is this working? Why is this transforming? And what is the spirit, mind, body connection? Why do I have to have a healthy spirit to have a healthy body? Why do I have to have a healthy mind to have a healthy body? Do I have cellular trauma from my childhood that I've never dealt with that is still trapped inside those glass marbles? Maybe somebody was physically abused, they were sexually abused, they were verbally abused, they're emotionally abused, their parents got divorced, or one of their parents was an alcoholic. All these things can cause cellular trauma. So we go deep. That's what happens in the daily videos, and they have a weekly coaching call. And their coach has their own miracle story. Their coach has already been through their own miracle and then helped thousands of other people to have their miracle. So that's how the protocol works.
So it's not a pill, it's not a supplement, it's actually a process that eventually opens up the cells to the hydration they need.
That's it. And I filed a process patent. So so people always ask me, what kind of patent is that? It's a process patent. So I have filed the only process patent in the world of how do you hydrate at the cellular level to actually medically documented, measurable, be able to increase your intercellular hydration.
Well, I got to imagine the medical world would hate something like this then, because it's not something that you inject or take or prescribe. It's actually a process. So that is where I would imagine this taking on in the medical community will be something that like these guys' minds are going to be blown, you know?
Well, they are, but look at the timing. So this
Yeah.
is pretty fascinating. 28 years. I've been doing this for 28 years, but never at any other time in history have we had someone like RFK, that's part of the administration, who would be open to, right? He would be open to something that really has scientific efficacy. We've never had a window of opportunity like this ever before.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of tying in an answer, well, why isn't everybody doing it? Why hasn't everybody heard about it? I think maybe God kept us a secret. When I say kept us a secret, we still have tens of thousands of clients, and we've grown, we have a significant company. So it's not like nobody knows about us, but the masses don't know about us, because I really believe God kept us a secret until the right people were in place for us to be able to share this message to the masses.
Yeah, I love that. Well, John, is there anything we've talked about a lot today? Is there anything we haven't covered that you'd want the people to know, or that gets you fired up?
Yeah, I really would. I'd like to share this with people, Andrew, is knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge. So God creates these windows. He creates a crossroad where we come across the knowledge that we need. But then that's when the battle starts. It's one thing to have knowledge. It's another thing to implement the knowledge.
Yeah.
So the truth doesn't make us free. No, it's the truth we know and act on makes us free.
Yeah.
So if someone says, hey, the truth is there is a bomb under your chair, it's going to blow up in 10 minutes. If you stay sitting in your chair, you will die. But if you know the truth and then you act on that truth, you can live a good long life and have no injury at all. Because why? You received the new truth and then you took an action step to it.
Yep.
And so in 3 John 2, it said, beloved, I wish above all things, above paying your tithe, above attending church, above reading your Bible. No, I wish above all things you be in health. Oh, what? God says above everything, it's our health. Oh yeah. And then prosper as your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions. No, God has a way. He designed us to live the most abundant, prosperous, amazing life ever. And it is health first. Because think about it, if you're an intercessor, you got a migraine headache, you can't pray. You got a migraine headache. If you're a preacher and you got the flu, you can't even go show up and stand in your pulpit because you got the flu. No, you got to have your health first. And then you have to have the mind, the will, the emotions. And then your spirit, when we're born again, you know what? Your spirit's good, but you may have some leftover stuff in there from your cellular trauma you had as a child. And so like both of my brothers were murdered. 5 of my friends were murdered. No, I grew up hard. I had some cellular trauma in there. My wife has her own story, from 5 to 13 years old. She was raped thousands of times. She had cellular trauma. So when we walk people through how to break through, no matter what their cellular trauma is, we've already done it. So when you read something on the internet, that's information. But when you've lived through it, like my wife and I have, that's impartation. Impartation is 1,000 times better than information. And so that's why we're able to set the captives free, because we're able to give impartation because we have lived this. And so I would encourage people, you got some new knowledge today, but now take an action step to act on that new knowledge so you can have the greatest, most amazing life God designed for you to have.
Amen. It's a good word. I was actually just thinking about, as you were talking, for whatever reason, the rich man and Lazarus popped up. And, this is not necessarily in context, but we're talking about heaven and hell there. But basically, Jesus says they have Moses and the prophets. Like they have the information they need to make a decision. And you're just basically saying, hey, you've been given information. How are you going to make a decision based on that information? So that's a really good word. Well, we've already talked about the website. What's the best way for people to find out more about it? Is it to go to the website? Is it shoot an email? What's the best way to inquire?
Yeah, for sure, guys. Look, and here's a beautiful thing is, you can do your research, be a good steward, look on the website. And more importantly, today with the internet, Andrew, there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide on the internet, man. I mean, if you are not the real deal, they will find you out. You out.
Yep.
And so I would encourage you guys, go look on the Better Business Bureau, go look on Trustpilot, go look on Google, do your due diligence. But I can already tell you what you're going to find. I got nothing but A+ and 5-star. I got nothing but people saying, this sounded too good to be true, but it changed my life. This sounded too good to be true. My doctor said it was irreversible, but this guy reversed it. I mean, that is our 28-year testimony, that we have. And then when you book a call, make sure just book a call. You got no salespeople, guys. We have no salespeople in our company. All we have is people that had their own miracle story. They got so passionate. They said, can I join your movement? We said, sure. You want to just share with people on the phone, answer their questions, what you went through? That's who you're going to be talking to. So no one's going to try to sell you anything. So that's the best way to reach out. Book that call. Do a little bit of research on the internet, but make sure you book a call and get on there and talk to someone about your specific situation you have going on.
Well, John, that's awesome, man. What a great time. Thanks for sharing about Energized Health. Thanks for sharing your story, man. It was really powerful. Don't go anywhere because I want to keep talking, but thanks for coming on the podcast.
Well, honored to be here.